everybody still remembers all of the bullet points that we covered already. So we have beginning here.
Yes, Mayor, we do have several requests to speak. First up would be Chris Hofeditz, followed by Kimberly Suksum.
My name is Chris Hofeditz. I live in the 4th District, and I've been in Hemet for about 10 years. My purpose this evening is to again ask for assistance from the City Council in preparing a resolution in support of Medicare for All Act of 2019 and to get it on the agenda and get it voted on, perhaps to pass. In support of that idea, I've brought a graphic I'll show you in just a moment that displays the number of cities across the country that have already passed resolutions. There are quite a few. Just in the month of December, about 40 were added to a total of 270 so far. And I think this represents the groundswell of support for Medicare for All. Also, I'd like to highlight, if I have time, some of the benefits to the city of Hemet that Medicare for All would provide. Here's my graphic. It's a little hard to see, but you can see that all across the country, many cities have...
Chris, could I please have you address the council?
Oh, okay. Take a look. And these are the organizations that are supporting this effort through online webinars and other activities to promote the passage of resolutions in support of Medicare for All. Why Medicare for All would be good for the city of Hemet? Medicare for All would relieve the city from the burden of having to pay health care for the police, firefighters, clerical employees, school district employees, and others. It would eliminate having to pay those health care costs. It would also include retirees, might alleviate lawsuits from personal injuries and workmen's compensation cases. All these expenses would drop from the City of Hemet budget. While Medicare for All would make the city budget more predictable, the same would be true for the citizens of Hemet. No more high medical costs, high drug costs, nor catastrophic medical expenses. The financial security of the city and of its citizens would be improved. All right, a sample resolution statement. Whereas the never-ending rising costs of health care adds challenges to our already strapped municipal budgets and our small businesses which keep our communities thriving. The reason that I am suggesting that the city support the Medicare for All Act of 2019 is that I want everyone to know that the city of Hemet cares for each and every one of its citizens.
Chris, your time has expired, so if you wrap it up.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Next.
Up next is Kimberly, followed by Group Richard Bruce.
Good evening, council members. Please allow me to introduce myself as Kimberly, daughter of Sita and Lou, sitting in the audience, as I will be speaking on their behalf. Tonight, I would like to voice our collective concerns, including those of over 2,000 signed petitioners, regarding the median curb divider which is being installed by Caltrans along Highway 74. Tonight, we humbly request any form of help the city is able to offer us to continue to thrive as integral members of our community. We are first and foremost citizens of the city of Hemet, and we have been a part of the city and community for the past 17 years. We own a small mom-and-pop run shop called Gas Mart, which is located at 1005 West Florida Avenue. The nature of our business is to provide the sale of gasoline to our customers. Since the median curb divider project has been underway, we have noticed a significant decrease in traffic flow by almost 50%, as the median blocks any potential westbound traffic along Highway 74 from entering our business with ease. Most of our customers find it too cumbersome and too confusing to use the smaller back roads as an alternative route to navigate their way to our business. Unfortunately, this has caused almost 50% of our customers to take their business elsewhere. As small business owners, we fear that this new financial stress will only continue to increase if things are to continue the way that they are. We fear that we will no longer be able to financially sustain ourselves, even though we already are operating at very minimal expenses and have been operating at minimal expenses for the past 17 years. We humbly request that the city take action to help us continue to thrive in our community by keeping the cross street of Western Avenue open to cross traffic. This will allow our customers to continue to pull into our business without safety issues, greatly help us sustain ourselves financially, and continue to be active and contributing members of our community. We thank you for your time and deep consideration.
Thank you very much, Kimberly.
Up next is Richard Bruce. It was submitted with various other requests to speak, 5 others. There's a 10-minute limit on the comments.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor and members of council. I'm Richard Bruce, 22 veteran of the City of Hemet Public Works Department. About myself, father of 3 amazing children, beautiful wife. I work full-time 40 hours a week for the city, as well as an additional 12 to 36 hours, 2 or 3 weekends a month for an outside agency. I know at least a couple of you have seen me in my other uniform. I don't do this because I want to. I do it because I have to support my family. I'm not the only Public Works employee that works 2 jobs to make ends meet. In fact, 50% or more of our Public Works staff do the same. We even have employees at the City of Hemet that collect state aid to put groceries on the table in their homes. These are not part-time employees. These are the meat of the city, the guys that keep the wheels turning day in and day out, taking care of business, rain or shine, to keep the citizens of this valley safe and the roads pothole-free. With that being said, I recently read a quote by a successful businessman that says, "Train well enough so that they can leave, treat them well enough they won't want to." Can I ask you to please think about that? If your answer is yes, you're blind to your ways. We as non-public safety employees have been treated with absolute disregard as for our livelihood by you. Our last salary increase was 2007. In 2007, the minimum wage was $7.25 an hour. Fast forward, 13 years later, 2020. Minimum wage is now $13 an hour. National cost of living has gone up 24.7%. Let me state that another way. The cost of living index has gone up by 24.7% since our team has had a compensation increase. People working entry-level positions, flipping burgers, have been given a 59% raise in 13 years. Meanwhile, the City of Hemet has not increased our compensation package at all. That's right, 0% in increase or benefits in 13 years against a cost of living of 24.7%. In fact, the complete opposite. We've been handed an increase in benefit cost of around $250 a month or 5%. So in reality, we've taken a pay cut. Our neighbor city of San Jacinto, which we have lost employees to in recent months, has approved a 15 to 20% pay increase for their public works employees over the next 3 years, as well as paying 100% of their medical. This might not be a problem if the work had gone down and staffing had gone up. However, it's been the complete opposite again. Our water department is less than 50% staffed, down to 10 employees from a fully funded staff of 22. Streets department, 4 unfilled positions. Facilities maintenance, once a 10-man department, in 2011 has been cut down to 3 positions. However, the workload continues to increase. Our sewer department is non-existent, which, by the way, is a service the citizens of this valley are paying for, but the city has not been able to provide in more than 6 months. Why is that, you ask? The inadequate, substandard wages to the employees and staff outside of your public safety departments. It's pretty pathetic when the city has an enterprise fund, such as a water company, can't afford to pay a competitive wage. We cannot recruit people to apply for our jobs to fill vacancies, and when they do apply and we offer them a position, they turn it down once they see what the pay scale is. The applicants we do hire just use us as a training ground for them to gain experience and promptly move on for more and much better pay to other municipalities. 2 employees have left our water department in the last 25 days. Last month, December 10th, 2019, you approved a contract for City Manager Chris Lopez to receive a base salary of $220,000 a year. This salary is substantially more than the previous city manager. He also gets a yearly retention payment of $10,000 and the ability to get an additional performance bonus of up to another $10,000 each year. His potential total package is $240,000 per year. Reminder, the Public Works and other non-public safety departments have not had compensation in 13 years. You claim the city's at a deficit. You tell us you don't have money to be able to pay us a competitive wage to keep up with the cost of living industry standard, yet you give Mr. Lopez a guaranteed 4.5% increase every year of his contract, with the possibility of an additional 4.5% with a satisfactory performance evaluation. That's 9% a year for 5 years. Where's that money coming from? I can tell you where it's not. The revenue we are losing by selling water to a loss to value-add recreation, the money we're spending on contract employees. For example, in 2018, the city spent $76,000 from the water department admin budget, $36,000 from Measure A, and an additional $175,000 from general fund, and currently have a purchase order for an additional amount of $311,845 for 2019 to be paid out of the general fund, totaling over $839,000 for contract services. These outsourced contracts are providing less than a part-time employee would be providing to perform tasks that we could do in-house if vacant positions were filled. If we filled the Director of Engineering position with a salary for full-time engineering is $134,845. I'm not saying filling one position would free up all that's previously spent or currently budgeted, but I'm sure it would put a dent in it. While I'm talking about contract employees, the city is currently paying a contract sewer crew $2,500 a day to maintain our sewer system that, again, the citizens are paying for. On May 23rd, 2017, Alex Meyerhoff presented to you in the MOU for the City of Hemet firefighters and the police department that, I quote, the success of Measure U is contingent on the city's ability to recruit and retain qualified, experienced professional police and fire personnel. As best I can tell, you have not used that money for the retainment portion of the pay increases that have been given to mid-level employees in police and fire. These positions are being paid out of the general fund instead of Measure U funds like it was presented. I encourage you moving forward to please take a closer look at how that money is being spent. Now that I've told you a couple things that I feel need your serious focused attention, I'd like to give you some ideas that the city may be able to gain in revenue to put ourselves in a better financial situation and consequently compensate our public works employees as they deserve and are entitled. Some of these ideas I have previously spoken with to Mr. Lopez, but I'd like to share them with you as well. CNG filling stations at the city yard. A few years ago, the city installed 20 natural gas filling stations at the city yard in anticipation of the upcoming shift in fuel types for our refuse trucks. However, that refuse service sold, and we no longer have the fleet of trucks that will need this type of fuel. Instead, we have 5 trucks that use these pumps a couple times a week. With all costs included, the city is paying roughly $8 a gallon for this fuel source. Operating in this fashion is not financially responsible. However, in speaking with other people, I have been told that the Hemet Unified School District approached one of our former city managers, Mr. Alan Parker, and expressed interest in using these pumps to fill their buses as well as pay our fleet maintenance crew to perform light repairs. I'm not sure why this was not pursued or even if it was considered, but I would like to think it's worth investigating. Solar. We have many facilities that use a lot of electric power, and yet none of them have solar. There is a reason why so many other municipalities have a Unified School District, EMWD, Rancho Water District, to name a few, have put solar at their facilities. While we're talking solar, the city owns a large parcel of property at the corner of Warren Road and Esplanade. That is a former landfill and cannot be built on or irrigated. I think we should look into a solar project that could possibly generate revenue for the city. Park use. Most cities charge for the use of their parks facilities. Why do we allow ours to be used and rented for free? While it won't generate a lot of revenue, every little bit helps. Business licenses. I'd like to see us work harder at forcing business license compliance, even if that requires a door-to-door check to make sure that they are in compliance. Rental assets. Why not market some of our city facilities, such as the upstairs of the library or the Simpson Center, to be rented out to cover some of our costs? In closing, this is a great city that has many dedicated employees and citizens such as myself that want nothing more for it to succeed and become both a wonderful place to live and work like it once was. However, if the city cannot keep up with the cost of living in relation to employees' wages, our city will never be that. I'm speaking about the people that keep this city moving forward day to day. Please do not lose sight of that. Thank you very much for your time to speak with you about my concerns, and truly hope that some of my suggestions are pursued with diligence and able to help the city.
Richard, thank you for your comments, and most importantly, thank you for offering up some suggested solutions. Doesn't always happen that way.
Up next is American Legion, Post 53, with a limit of 10 minutes, followed by Pat Gregory.
Good evening. Thank you all for being here. I know most of the people in front of us here are civic leaders, and I find them to be some of the finest people I've ever met. They support our American Legion. My name's Ronnie Imel. I'm a service manager. Yeah, thank you. I'm a service officer for the American Legion here in town. I'm a lifetime member of the VFW and a member of the American Legion, and I support my veterans 1,000%. I am a veteran, and I try to do work for veterans. Enough about me. I'm here to talk about a license for our post to serve alcohol. But before I get started with that, myself and my commander, Joe Males, came here several months ago and spoke and talked about an exemption that we needed to get our alcohol license. And we were met with the opportunity to go to the city manager, Chris Lopez, sitting right here. He is one of the most polite, courteous gentlemen I've ever met. Very, very well-spoken, very attentive, and very good follow-up. I wrote a letter, might say prematurely, without going back to Mr. Lopez and talking to him about some issues that we had, and for that, I apologize, sir. Stepped way over my thoughts about communication. So, I, again, apologize. That said, the American Legion has been here in this community. We just had our 100th birthday. I heard somebody talking that was up here about 70 years of experience in Hemet. This is a very, very fine community. I love the city of Hemet, and I don't even live here. I live up in the mountains and drive here 35 miles just about every day of the week. At any rate, I love the city of Hemet. What we do at the American Legion is help people. I said the Post had been here for 100 years. It has. It's named after Harold Highland. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he was the first person killed in World War I, and he lived here in Hemet. The Post is named after him. Our Post has a very proud heritage. The site, the building was originally built at March and transported here. It's unique. It's different. And along with it came some different leadership over the years. For many, many years, our Post never served alcohol, didn't get an alcohol license, and that's what we're trying to do now. As you heard others speak tonight about budgets and what it costs and how inflation is working, that's kind of what we're faced with too. We have a situation where our Post, because of probably, I'd call it strong leadership in the past, just kind of kept screwing down the screws to finances and only opened the Post about 6 days a week. It was open 4 nights a week for bingo, so we could bring in some revenue to keep the lights on. Did I say what I said? I might as well say a night and get it that wrong, right? But anyway, 4 nights a week, a month, and 2 nights a month for meetings, the general meeting. And then we would rent the Post out, and we'd get some donations from people, and we'd have fundraisers. And the Post, over the last many years, 10 years, the bank account's been going, whoa. At any rate, we need help. We need help because we need an alcohol license, something that we believe we have some form of right to. And let me explain that to you and to the audience. Veterans have been exempt from an alcohol license by the federal government in the state of California, the county for that matter, but when it comes to Hemet, when they wrote the new rules, the new codes, they completely left veterans out. They don't have the word anywhere in the codes. We're not part of it. So when we tried to go to the city, we ran into a little bit of a block in the very beginning, and that's what brought Joe and I together. Now you guys know that because I sent out a letter, and so I'm talking about some things you already know and being a little bit redundant. But a lot of people would wonder, what does the American Legion do? Well, for 100 years, it supported the veterans in this local community. Right now, if I went backwards, the last veteran that we helped was this last Saturday, walking by our Post. One of our members here, Airborne Ranger Special Forces fellow, our chaplain, walked out and said, "Please, young lady, come in and have breakfast." She turns out to be a veteran, of course, and we offered her a place to live for the time being. We offered to take her out to the VA out here in Loma Linda. Maybe a month ago, we took veterans out of a very untenable situation and put them up, helped put them up in a new place to live. Mike Wolford over here, with his help, we provided furniture for the whole house. We've provided beds and bedding and clothing and a car. Well, we don't do that for every person on the street. Happen to be a Marine. How about that? Huh? I could go on, but I got a short period of time, okay? So I'm not going to go on, but I can tell you that through the years that I've been here, since about 2003, in this post, We've provided cars for people. We've provided fixing their motor, fixing their transmission. Guys come in, they're traveling through and they run out of gas. We put people up for the weekend for one reason or another that were veterans. We help veterans in the community. And as you made your presentation tonight, people who are not veterans, we're there. We want to be here. I want to be here. But if for financial reasons we fail, as a Legion, I'm still going to do what I do. I already do. I'm already at a VFW post locally. I'm already at an ANZA Indian clinic up here in the mountain. I help all over the country. But what's going to happen, that's the only American Legion, it's the only veterans group we have in Hemet. We need help. We need an exemption from this license. Now let me go on just a little bit if I may. Through the years, when I first came back from the service, I took all my military attire and took it off and shoved it in a duffel bag coming home. I didn't want anybody to know I was a veteran. There was so much animosity towards veterans coming out of the Vietnam War. I didn't want to be seen. Over time, becoming a businessman, I realized everybody wasn't out to get me because I was a soldier. So we changed our thoughts. But I have heard people say, who are these people? Who is the VFW? Who is the American Legion? What do they do? In this room right here, there's quite a few veterans, but not all so many. But I can tell you that we have a manager of a hospital here. We have a man from the Department of Veterans Affairs here who helps the homeless. We have a man that was in the parts business. We have a computer expert. We have Santa Claus is even here. Mr. Joe Mail, the computer expert and businessman. Next to him, a manager from electronic industry. We have a retired Secret Service agent. We have a nurse. I'm sorry.
Ronnie,
Hey, look, I'm not going to go on there. I know I'm
just
down.
got up.
Whose time can I have? Is that somebody's time?
It was all of our time.
It's all our time put together.
You're 10 minutes. So
Okay, go. I'm going. Okay.
you also have
I'm
veterans
hurrying
on the
up.
council.
Okay, who are we? That's who we are. We're just like you guys are. And I don't want to be up here very long either, but we have people here that are just like everyone else in the room, and they're also veterans. Now, I'm going to get down because I really need to. See this jug right here? This is from my colonoscopy tomorrow.
Oh, boy.
I was supposed to start this several hours ago, but I couldn't be. I was afraid to come stand up here. Hey, so in my ending, I know I got to go. I would like all of you to hear this, and it's heartfelt from the American Legion. We love our city, and I really appreciate the way they've recognized their community tonight. How about a round? Thank you.
Thank you, Ronnie. Enjoy your beverage. Nah.
Up next is Pat Gregory, followed by Erica London.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. My name is Pat Gregory. First of all, I'd like to remind everyone that our city attorney has the highest budget of any of the surrounding cities, including Temecula. In July of last year, when the balanced budget was passed, all 5 council members voted to review the city council's budget. It seemed like a positive step. However, last month, 3 city council members voted to increase the retainer budget by $100,000 and increase the litigation budget by $600,000. Plus, there was no mention of any changes or any action taken to review this excessive line item budget. Now, also, the city has reverted back to hiding the city attorney's budget amongst the departments. This is what 3 council members voted last month. So it's not easy, if you take a look at the finances, to see exactly what he's getting. I remember several years ago, the financial consultant who stood right here, and she's no longer with us, pointed out that that allocation method hid the actual amount that we were paying the city attorney. So I'm going to challenge all the council members and the city manager. I would like to know who actually reviews the city attorney's invoices. Does anyone ever audit those millions of dollars in fees to check for any errors or irregularities? We are talking about millions of dollars that are apparently spent without any oversight. Now, to me, that is nothing less than fiscal irresponsibility. And actually, I'm ashamed when I heard the amount of money that the rank and file that the public works guys make, and you look at the millions of dollars that this city attorney receives without apparent oversight, without the review that you promised. I just think it's shameful. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I just wanted to take a moment to stand up and recognize the mayor for coming out, speaking to the survivors of the Alessandro fire, and for making a genuine motion of concern and city support. I also want to thank the other members of City Council who showed their faces at some of the visuals and joined in the community. It felt like community, sadly, over something terrible. I did want to take a moment also to recognize that Carly Meyer has given 200% of her time in the wake of this fire. And for her to stand up and give other people an award, I just wanted to make sure that the world knows that you gave of your heart, from your heart, for this community. So, with that being said, like the people who spoke before me, I love this community. I love this city. And I love what our city council is trying to do in making changes. And we thank you, each of you, for your service. Thank you.
The last speaker is Mary Ann Derwin.
Hi, my name's Mary Ann Derwin. I was going to give you guys a break tonight and not speak. However, after watching that we have to have someone on the city has to come up here and explain to you on what is going on and how ruthless you are at giving money to and giving other people raises without taking care of our own. I think it's a shame. And 2 of you have been here on the city council long enough to know what you've been doing and what you've been voting for. And there is no reason for someone from maintenance to have to come up here and tell you what you should already know. And that is just shameful. And I pay my water bill every month reluctantly because I feel I'm getting ripped off. And obviously now, after I've heard his speech, I am. So I think that, you know what, you really do need to review where you spend your money and who you're giving it to. Because this is a sad state of affairs when you've got someone that works as hard as he does every day, and he has to come up here and tell you that he can't even make ends meet and he has to work 2 jobs. That is just sad. And I am embarrassed to say that I live here and that's how you're treating your employees.
Okay, that concludes our comments from the public. We'll now move on to item 7, receive and file. Item 7A is the warrant register, and 7B is the investment portfolio.
Second.
On 7A and 7B?
Yes, on all the receive and file, all 7.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Now we're on to item 8, which is the consent calendar. These items will be acted upon in a single action of the City Council unless otherwise requested by an individual council member for separate consideration. Are there any members of council that would like to pull a consent calendar item?
I want to pull 8B.
8B?
D.
D.
David.
Thank you. 8F. Anyone else? Okay, we have a request to remove 8D as in David and 8F. May I have a motion on the remaining items on the consent calendar?
Move to approve.
Second. Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve. Please vote. That passes unanimously. Item 8D.
I need to refuse because that's in the proximity of my residence.
First of all, I think the proposed project is listed incorrectly as being on the southwest corner of Stetson and Sanderson. I believe it's on the southeast corner. Isn't that correct? Which means the resolution has to be amended. But more importantly, I asked about the $259,000 for the EIR. That's on the top of an EIR expectant fee. Normally, it could range anywhere from $150 to $250. So I guess what I'm asking is why that's on the upper threshold of EIR services.
I second that.
Good evening, Mayor. H.P. Kang, planning. For this item, you guys are aware that this project went before the council. The applicant requested to be rescinded.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
This item that came before you in prior year, and it was already approved through City Council, but there were some litigation possibilities, so the applicant requested that the City Council rescind the decision. This was in for possible litigation, so we had 3 different submittals for RFP, so request for proposal on this item, and this was actually the lowest of the 3 that we got the proposal for.
That's surprising.
Yes.
As you know, I look at these a lot in my line of work. So, I was surprised at the cost of this EIR for this particular project. I don't know if anybody else has any comment?
Is there any chance the developer is paying for it?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
The entire amount is being paid by the developer.
Oh, very good. But I still think it's high.
It is high.
Can you explain to us why? Because if we're trying to bring businesses into Hemet and then we're dealing with this, it's huge, and so it's definitely could cause some delays.
Absolutely. And one of the reasons why this is high is because, as I explained, the possible litigation that this project has in the past. So they wanted to make sure that they're defensible in the court. So they want to make sure that they go through the EIR process for that. And again, this was the lowest out of the 3 bids that we received for this project.
Unbelievable.
Any other questions of staff? If If there are no further questions, I'll entertain a motion.
So we need that resolution amended.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, no, we don't have to bring it back, but we make the motion to approve with the amended project location in the resolution, so forth.
Okay. Is there a second? Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve item 8D as amended to reflect the actual correct location of southeast corner. And record will reflect that Councilmember Percival has recused himself. Please vote. And that passes 3-1. Welcome back.
Thanks.
And you
Yes,
have comments on your item that you pulled, 8F?
8F. So I would, on this one, if you look at Exhibit A or Exhibit 1 on the staff report, there's a couple of the pages where the numbers don't line up properly. So I would like to pull this one and bring it to the next council meeting so that can be corrected, and then we can vote on it at that point.
Do you have a packet page number that you're referencing or a page in the attachment?
It's item 8F, and there's no page number.
Numbers on.
So
but
which
it's attachment 1, and if you go to the second page of if you go to the the first page of the attachment, I mean, it's off. It's showing the code compliance manager makes an annual salary of $220. So I'd like to apply for that position.
And I'm going to help him on those Fridays.
Yeah.
So we'll both be part-timers.
I see the error. Okay.
So it looks like the spreadsheet probably got shifted on there. So if we can get that corrected and then bring that back.
Might be an issue on the city treasurer.
They're all off.
Yeah, they're all on.
So,
So if we have a motion, I'll motion that we table this to the next meeting.
We can bring it back, continue it.
okay.
Correction from the council's fine to bring it back correctly. Mr.
So we don't need to vote on that motion?
All right, then
Okay.
I'll withdraw my motion.
Okay. Moving on to item 9 is public hearing. The City Council's procedure for public hearings will be as follows. The mayor will ask for the staff report, and then we'll ask for clarification of items presented if needed. The mayor will open the public hearing and ask for comments for those in favor of or in opposition to the item. The mayor will ask for rebuttal to any comments made if necessary. And we'll close the public hearing after that. And the mayor will ask the interim, or actually the city manager, to respond to any questions raised by the public. The public will not have an opportunity to respond. The mayor will then bring the discussion back to council for direction or action. So we have item 9A, which is a public hearing to consider calling a special election, declaring the results of the election and approving formation and levy of special taxes for the City of Hemet Community Facilities District number 2019-01. Ms. Sweeney.
Good evening, Council and Mayor and ladies and gentlemen of the public. This item was previously presented to you at our last council meeting in December. As a review, this is for the McSweeney Community Facilities District, which is the maintenance CFD. Just as a recap, on October 22nd, the City Council took the first steps in the process of forming the district. This project area is projected to include 1351 single-family units at its build-outs. The public hearing was scheduled for December 10th last month, but a continuance was requested as the ballot, once it was open, was found to be incomplete. So we are hoping that tonight it is not the case. It's respectfully recommended that we continue with the public hearing and to have the city clerk, deputy city clerk, open the ballot and continue with the public hearing.
Okay. Thank you. Council have any questions of staff? City clerk, do we have any requests to speak on this item of public hearing?
No, Mayor, there are no requests to speak.
Okay. Then we'll proceed with the opening of the ballot.
The consent waiver was signed, and the ballot was with one vote of yes.
Okay. So we have the completed ballot that caused us to not be able to take action at last meeting, and so it's completed this week. Okay. So at this point, I'll entertain a motion to. Okay, I'll close the public hearing. Pardon me, I'm still new at this. Okay.
And I will make a motion, recommendation, adopt 1, 2, 3, and waive full reading.
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Yes.
That motion passes unanimously.
Mayor, I'll just add for the council members of the public, even though we only had one ballot, that one ballot represents the entirety of the property ownership, so the one ballot suffices to pass the measure.
Thank you for that clarification.
I'll need to read the ordinance, the title. It's an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Hemet, California, acting in its capacity as a legislative body of City of Hemet Community Facilities District Number 2019-1, McSweeney, authorizing the levy of a special tax therein.
Okay, we have item 9B, which is a public hearing to consider authorizing annexation of territory to Community Facilities District number 2005-1 for public safety services.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The state legislature enacted the Melrose Act of 1982, also known as the Act, to assist public agencies in financing certain public services. On September 27th of 2005, the City Council passed Resolution number 3949 to form CFD 2005-1, a public safety services CFD. On April 25th of 2006, the City Council passed Resolution number 4022, Resolution 4033, and Resolution 4053 to authorize and designate the boundary for future annexations of territory to the CFD. This is annexation number 18 to the CFD. The developer, Raintree Development, requested that the city assist them in annexing territory into the existing CFD in order to cover the costs associated with public safety within the proposed annexation area in the form of police and fire protection services. Annexation number 18 is composed of 591 parcels. The territory to be annexed is to be known as Community Facilities District 2005-1, Public Safety Services. Annexation number 18, which consists of tracts 33824, 33824-1, 33824-2, 33825, and 33825-1. Approval of the attached resolutions is required under the Act to levy a special tax and fund certain services. The attached resolutions declare the City Council's intention to annex tracts 33824, 33824-1, 33824-2, 33825, and 33825-1 into the Community Facilities District number 2005-1 as annexation number 18, and to authorize the levy of a special tax in accordance with an attached rate and method of apportionment of special tax. The attached resolution is the final step in forming annexation number 18 pursuant to the procedures prescribed by the Act, which include holding a public hearing and submitting the formation of the proposed annexation number 18 to the landowners at a special election to be conducted by mail ballot, and we do have the ballot tonight. The proposed annexation will have a maximum special tax in the amount of $420.96, the fiscal year 1920 rate, per taxable unit per year for single-family residential units, and a maximum special tax of $339.60 per multifamily residential unit. These rates will increase by the percentage increase in the Consumer Price Index, or 3%, whichever is greater, of the maximum special tax in effect in the previous fiscal year. The owners have filed a petition representing their willingness to move forward. If approved by the property owners and City Council, the first year of levying the special tax will be fiscal year 2020-2021. So with that, staff recommends that City Council conduct a public hearing to consider authorizing the annexation of the territory to the Community Facilities District 2005-1, and once that is completed, adopting the resolutions that are included in this report.
Thank you very much. With that, I'll open the public hearing. Deputy City Clerk, do we have any requests to speak on this item?
No, Mayor, there are no requests to speak.
Okay, with that, I'll close the public hearing. And Deputy City Clerk, are there return ballots for the special election on Facilities District 2005-1, Annex number 18?
Yes, Mayor, the City Clerk's office received one today. Received was the consent and waiver for the properties by Pat Parker with a yes vote.
Thank you very much. We have a yes vote. Do any members of council have questions or comments?
I have some comments. Okay, I'm going to put my realtor hat on. I understand that the property owner who owns all of these parcels currently voted yes to add this into the CFD. Number 2005-1, and in that it has a description of services for what the tax annexation is going to be used for, and it says in the CFD that the authorized services shall be the following: police protection services and fire protection services and suppression services, including but not limited to the cost of contracting services, equipment, vehicles, ambulances and paramedics, fire apparatus, supplies, and salaries and benefits to city staff that directly provide police protection services and fire protection services and suppression services and other services defined herein, respectively, and it goes on. I know that the property owner said yes to this, but I'm not in favor of this because the citizens of Hemet voted for Measure U to pay for public safety services. The people, when these properties get built out, these people are going to be paying double for police protection through the use of Measure U and through a special assessment on their property taxes. So I'm not in favor of this because we already have something specific, and this is now going to target these property owners, future property owners, to pay for a tax for that something that they're already paying a tax for. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Any other council members wish to comment or have questions?
Yeah, and along the lines of what Mike has said, are there other housing or places that have this in our city? Sorry, my voice is going.
Well, I do know that all the other properties in McSweeney fall under this, under the CFD.
But that was before Measure U.
Correct, before Measure U.
Yes, correct.
My development also does.
I have a question. The CFDs, they pay 100% of all of public safety costs. How is that allocated? By usage only, or percentage of budget, percentage of people who live in those homes?
So either Chris or Lorena can give the actual breakdown on what that proportion is. So Chris or Lorena, the question was, what percentage of the CFD that those individuals will be paying goes to the cost of public safety? Is it 100% for the services within that CFD? What's the breakdown? What's the proportion? How does it get split up?
I don't have that breakdown. I can tell you that the CFD right now has about just under 1,600 lots that pay into the CFD. The total CFD collects about $600,000 a year in taxes. Public safety costs about $20 million a year. So it's really a very small portion of the overall public safety services for the city.
Okay, to follow up on that, would these new houses or, new properties be paying substantially more than what the CFDs in some of our existing tracts are paying, as in Four Seasons?
So we only have one CFD. Okay. And this would be annexing them into the same CFD.
Right.
So the rates are the same?
So new properties would be paying the same as Russ is paying out at Four Seasons?
Correct.
Plus the 1% sales tax that we all pay?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
And is there a sunset on this? It's just forever.
As long as the city provides public safety services, and as long as the city does not rescind the CFD, this tax will be in place.
Okay.
Well, the perspective is it's the same rate that current residents are paying and have paid since we started CFDs, which I have no idea how long Hemet's been doing CFDs. I know surrounding cities do it all the time.
This one started in 2005, and it's the only public safety CFD we have.
Okay.
So everything else for public safety comes out of general fund.
Thank you.
And just for clarification, is the intent behind CFDs and these additional fees based on the anticipated additional burden on those services